You know, we have some politicians, federal politicians, who are saying Canada is going to be off hydrocarbons by 2050. By the way, 2050 sounds like a long time. It's only 31 years from now. Like 31 years ago, it was 1988. So Calgary had the Olympics. You know, it wasn't that long ago. And think of 1988 to today in terms of your energy use. It really hasn't changed that much. But they're saying in the next 31 years, we're going to be off hydrocarbons. I find that an irresponsible statement. I was flying last fall. I was reading The Economist. I tend to read when I fly. I don't watch the movies very often. So I'm reading about the new airport in Istanbul. And you might think, well, what does that have to do with Canadian energy? But I'm reading about this new airport. So in Istanbul, last fall, they opened a new airport. They didn't renovate the airport. They shut it down. They built a brand new one. When it's fully built out, it's designed to handle 200 million passengers a year. One airport, 200 million passengers a year. So a few months later, I'm flying and I read about the new Beijing airport. I'm sure a number of you here have been to Beijing. If you've been to the airport there, it is a marvel of engineering. It is phenomenal. It's ultra modern. It's huge. They've built a second one just as big. So now Beijing has two airports. Each one can handle 100 million passengers a year. So here we have two cities. Forget the rest of the planet for a minute. We have two cities, 400 million passengers a year, 1.1 million passengers a day out of two cities. On what planet are we getting off hydrocarbons? We're going to be using hydrocarbons for a long time. We have to use them responsibly. I'm all for a low-carbon world, but there's no such thing as a no-carbon world. A low-carbon world is not a no-carbon world. There is no alternative to fossil fuels, hydrocarbons for many things. So the same is true in Canada. In the last 10 years, we've increased our flights, our passenger air traffic by about 50%. And as we sit here today and we talk about energy, Vancouver is currently in the middle of a $9 billion, that's with a B, $9 billion 20-year expansion of their airport to ensure they can get more planes in and out of Vancouver. And I was in Vancouver last Monday. I was up at Whistler. I was speaking there. And when you go to the airport there, everybody who's been there, lots going on, cranes, lots of construction. As we sit here today and speak, they're building a pipeline from the Fraser River, 13 kilometers to the airport. They bring in jet fuel by barge, and they're going to put it through this new pipeline to the airport. And of course, there's been a lot of opposition to pipelines in British Columbia. But in the middle of Vancouver, they're building a 13-kilometer pipeline. So I went to their website of the Airport Fuel Facilities Corporation and saw these great quotes here that the project will allow for safe and securable, reliable supply of fuel for the long term. And the project will have a smaller environmental footprint than the current system, which is transporting by trucks to the airport. So I thought this was very insightful. And it's good to know that in Vancouver they're aware of this. I was going to share it with TC Energy and Enbridge and Kinder Morgan because they should tell people this, because that's exactly what they're trying to do. And so it's kind of madness. And you know, we just had Bill C-69 passed, so we have our new Canadian energy regulator. I would propose we scrap the new Canadian energy regulator and we have the Vancouver Airport Fuel Facility Corporation in charge of our national energy infrastructure, because clearly they understand the benefits of pipelines. Just an idea. So same here in Calgary, by the way. We just finished a $2 billion expansion of our airport, the tunnel, the new runway, the new terminal. And same in Montreal, $2.5 billion expansion so they can bring in more and more flights. You know, these some of these federal politicians make these great statements, we're getting off hydrocarbons. You know, it's an irresponsible statement. We're not getting off hydrocarbons. We are going to be using hydrocarbons for decades to come. Doesn't mean we don't have to be more responsible, but we're going to be using hydrocarbons.